Our first panel, we got a very special guest for all of y'all. You'll recognize her from her standout roles in shows like Smallville, where she captivated us as Supergirl, and Bitten. How many Bitten fans we have out here? There we go. Please give a super welcome to the incredible, talented Laura Vandervoort. There we go. The crowd has waken up. They're excited for you. They're waiting for you to wake up with this rainy weather we've been having. It's been wild, but you brought definitely the sunshine today in San Antonio.
Thank you.
Let's hear it again. Come on.
I see some familiar faces, which is amazing. Hi.
That's so exciting. So you've been doing the cons for a long time, so you like seeing people all the time, you know. What's your favorite thing about doing conventions like this?
I think meeting the fans. To hear the stories of even just how Smallville that they grew up on it and they are still keeping up with the cast and the shows that we're working on, it's lovely. You guys are the reason we keep working.
Have you been to San Antonio before?
No.
First time. So hopefully you can check out the city if you get a chance, or if not, come back and visit. I went to school here. I'm from Houston, but I went to school here. San Antonio is a great city. How many locals we have out here? Best city in Texas? But Texas is great regardless, but welcome. We're excited to have you here. Obviously, one of the main things people love to talk to you about is Smallville. So can you talk to us about how this role just landed in your lap? What was the process? How did you hear about this role? Where did it all start from the get-go?
Goodness. So we, at the time, we were doing self-tapes. I'm Canadian. Are there any Canadians here? Hey, we got the Jersey too. So I was in Canada, and they do film Smallville in Canada. But I did a self-tape, so I taped myself at home, sent it in, didn't think anything of it, and I actually, you guys are gonna hate me for this, I actually thought Supergirl was like his sister or his girlfriend. I had no idea. But I was, gosh, 17, and did the tape, didn't think I'd hear anything, and then about a month later, I got a call. They wanted me in LA the next day to do a screen test. I was up north at my cottage. I had just sprained my ankle hiking, so we rushed home, got on the flight, and landed and went right into the screen test. And there was about 4 other girls also testing for the role. And they have you in this like little room, and you're all staring at each other. And as a Canadian, I'm like, "Hi guys, how you doing?" Like trying to be friendly, but no one was having it. Everyone was like super focused. And then one by one, they took us into the room, and we did the scenes for the producers and the show creators. And they brought us back out to the room, and then the casting agent came out and said, "Everyone can go home but Laura." I thought I was in trouble. I thought I was going to like the principal's office. They asked me to stay another night, and then the next day I was cast, and a week later I was literally in Vancouver in wires learning how to fly.
That's super exciting. Oh, that's awesome. That's you don't hear about the audition process, so it's very cool to hear about that. Who was the first cast member you met when you arrived to set?
First cast member, I think it was Tom. But the first person to like ask me to hang out and to show me around Vancouver was Michael. So we went and like made t-shirts and did goofy things, but I slowly met the cast as I had scenes with them, but right away I think I just met Tom.
What's like the fun things y'all do when y'all aren't on set, exploring the city? What are some things y'all were doing?
Honestly, again, I came in season 7, so I think at that point the cast was kind of over like hanging out too much. So I really just hung out with Michael, who's very extroverted if you guys haven't met him yet. He's a lot, but he was very open to showing me around. And then everyone else just kind of did their own things. So I can't say like any of us hung out outside of the show. We've actually gotten to know one another the most doing these conventions since the show has ended.
Yeah, y'all been spending a lot of time with each other doing all these Smallville panels. It's really great to see everyone kind of back. We got a question here about, either with Michael or John Glover, who plays his dad, any fun or hilarious moments from the two of them?
They're both goofy, amazing actors, so it would be hard to pick one. Michael was always, had antics on set. Tom actually, who you'd expect to be a little more serious, played a few jokes on me throughout the show. One, I was teaching him to fly and pushing him towards the loft door, and his character is not supposed to go out and we give up, but he fell out the window and he just disappeared out of my sight during a scene. And again, I was like, well, I'm fired. I just killed Superman. And then he had a gurney, like a pad below, and everyone was in on it, and he gave me the finger, and everyone laughed. I was just like, I'm gonna get fired one day, but today's not the day.
So you were talking about being on wires earlier, and so all of your scenes like that. Were you afraid to do your stunts like that in the scenes? I mean,
I loved it. I grew up doing martial arts. So I have my second-degree black belt in Shotokan, and so that came in very handy doing all of the wire work and the stunts. So any day we got a chance to do that and to break free from just doing the scenes was a lot of fun for me. Even my series Bitten was all hand-to-hand combat, and those were my favorite days. I love hitting people.
so where are Bitten fans at?
Hey! Oh, we've got men too. That's great. Usually it's women.
What drew you to that role of yours in Bitten?
I love playing strong, independent women who can take care of themselves, and I mean, that kind of started with Supergirl, but even as a kid, I was such a tomboy, and I was like defiant, and became an actor, and suddenly I was always playing roles where the women were more dominant, and whether it's good or not, that's usually in sci-fi. We're seeing it more in the mainstream, but sci-fi always allowed women to have more complex, layered storylines and backstories. So Bitten came along, and it was a nice combination of my current fan base from Smallville, and also the sci-fi genre, and she kicks ass. I read the books. It's based on a book series, and oddly, like Supergirl, who has my birthday in the comics, Elena from Bitten also had my birthday. So it kind of felt serendipitous. It was in my hometown, and it was a great cast.
No, that's awesome that you share a birthday with your
Strange.
characters. It's strange, but
Yeah.
I love it. What do you think resonated most with the audience when it came to Bitten? Like, why do you think all these people fell in love with that show?
I'm gonna have to ask them. I mean, it's the story of a girl trying to find her place. The backstory of Bitten, if you haven't seen it, is she's the first female werewolf in the world, the first female to survive the bite. Most women pass, but she was strong enough and made her way through it. So I think like the underlying metaphor there of persevering and being strong and finding your place in an industry that's typically, or a world, not an industry, but also in acting, in a world that's not necessarily meant for you, testing the boundaries, all of those things are very important to me, and I think surprising people based on what they might expect from you and showing them something entirely different.
Yeah, a great role for you, just like Supergirl was. How did you relate to your character on Smallville the most?
A fish out of water. I had never been away for work before. I was still very young. I had done a series in Toronto called Instant Star, and was cast, got one Instant Star man. I was cast as Supergirl at the time. I was still doing that show, so it was my first time being away from home, my first time driving in a new city, all of the pressures of the stunt work and the hours on set, and meeting new cast. I was like the new kid in school with this cast that had been together for 6 years prior, so I felt like a fish out of water. And so was Kara. She was Kara. I know that's a big debate. She was struggling to find her place once again, like Elena and Bitten. Where do I belong? What am I here for? What purpose do I have? And I think that's something that we all deal with at all times. As I'm getting older, I'm still wondering, have I done what I'm supposed to do? What more can I do? It's a constant thing.
It's not a bad thing, though. I think we all have that inside of us.
Yeah.
One of the questions we got actually is, what is your favorite part about being an Instant Star, and what do you think Sadie would be doing? What are you doing right now?
Oh, Sadie. Sadie was a really annoying character. I think she'd probably be like a publicist at some firm for actors trying to like hang out with A-listers and like drinking martinis, and She's being really annoying. I don't think she would be doing anything else. She was very much about appearance. Yeah.
I love that. Going back to Smallville, you know, how do you think Kara's journey in Smallville?
Is it Kara or Kara? What's the consensus? Kara?
It's Kara, but when I have friends named Kara, it's hard to go back and forth.
Well, they had me pronouncing it in the show as Kara. So I blame Smallville.
It's all good. No blaming needed. How do you think her journey helped shape the character we see in other adaptations of Supergirl?
How did the journey in Smallville?
Yeah.
I don't think it really affected the other adaptations.
You don't think so? Like people just saw what you did or just wanted to kind of jump on the storylines that were offered there? Some really good stuff in Smallville.
Maybe. I don't know, because every iteration that we've had of her, whether it be animated or the movie or the other series, which I was lucky to be a part of, they had their own spin on it. And I think that's the important part, is like, sure, you can draw stuff from previous characters. I mean, Helen Slater is the OG, and she was on Smallville, and I was just like, you are a god. And like, she floats, like she's so wonderful. And I did watch hers, and I remember talking to her, and she was like, you just make this your own. You gotta do it based on the time that you're shooting, right? And society had changed at the time that I was doing it. It's changed since the new series. So the subject matter and how a woman is represented on film has changed. Smallville, I've said it before, like my wardrobe was not my favorite. And since then, you know, it's the superheroes for like women had their costumes have been more muscular and covered and more dominant. Whereas back when we shot it, we were one of the first superhero shows, and it was CW. It was show your midriff. It's Britney Spears time, you know. So you adapt to the times, and I'm glad to see where the character has gone.
You spoke of Helen Slater, amazing. She's gonna be here today. I'm doing her panel later. Are you excited to reunite with her?
I am. I'm very excited.
You got a question you want to ask her? You can come back to the panel. You can ask her a question.
What time's the panel?
I believe I think at 4 o'clock.
Maybe I will.
You should. Did you take anything from the Smallville set?
Yes.
What did you borrow?
I borrowed and still have my Kryptonian bracelet and a piece of crystal from the Fortress of Solitude. No, I don't have my bracelet. I sold it to raise money for a film I directed. So it's good. It's still full circle. It's fine.
No, that was good. That's like when you first get introduced in Smallville. Right there, your bracelet, everything's there. It's awesome. Like,
yeah.
That's like the way you come into the show. You also play Indigo, aka Brainiac 8, coming in Supergirl for CW. How was that to kind of still be part of this DC world in a different capacity?
Very cool. I did the first season of the show, and I remember the creator came up to me at an award show and said, "We'd love to have you on." And I said, "Of course. Like, it's about time she had her own series, but can I please be a villain? And can I look as different as possible?" So we came up with Indigo, which is a bit of a knockoff of Mystique. Honestly, it's more fun being the villain.
How much you want to go back to that role? Would you play more villains instead of playing the hero?
Yeah.
That?
Yes. Yes.
What was the most challenging part of playing her, though? Was it putting on all that get-up and the makeup and everything?
No, I mean, it was a wetsuit, and then the rest was prosthetics. The hardest part, we had a big fight scene in the desert in California. It was very hot, and I'm wearing a wetsuit. So by the end of the day, I took the wetsuit off, and it was just a pile of water. And that wasn't even hard, again, because it's a fight scene. I love that. No, it was great. Melissa was wonderful. I think the hardest part was getting the script and accidentally highlighting Kara lines and realizing, oh wait, no, I'm Indigo. So.
You know, we're getting another Supergirl movie, and there's going to be other iterations of her different actresses. Any advice for the next, up-and-coming Supergirls out there?
Kick ass. That's all. And that's James Gunn, right?
Right.
Yeah, I know him back from living in Los Angeles, and I've been talking to him just on Instagram about how excited I am. And again, like, she should just do her own thing. There's no need to copy any of us. We're just creating a bit of a legacy, and every generation should be different.
He hasn't reached out to a possible cameo maybe when they film that one? That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen if James Gunn's listening right now.
Yes.
We need all the cameos we can get. There's been some talks about bringing back Smallville maybe in an animated capacity. Would you return to voice Supergirl if that ever happened? And we hope that does happen, right? We want to see a continuation of that.
I would love to. I think Rosenbaum was doing that, right? Maybe? Yeah. So I gotta talk to Rosenbaum then.
We all do. Everyone, anytime you see him at a convention, just keep asking about this project, because I've heard about it for a long time, right? And we are all excited for it, so we're hoping it does happen.
Yeah, I don't know if he's been working on it on the DL or if it's paused, but we'll definitely ask him this week or next weekend when I see him.
That's exciting. Talk about this kids book that you brought to life a couple of years ago now. Super Duper Delia. Delia. Well, I don't know why I did not pronounce that right. Kara. There you go. Put me on the wrong track there. Yeah, talk about this awesome book that you made.
So I actually have some with me this weekend, but Super Duper Delia, it's on Amazon. I self-published it. I wrote the book forever ago when I started doing conventions, and I was meeting little girls whose parents were the fans of the show, but they had just started watching it, and again, commenting on the wardrobe, I was like, oh, I really wish they weren't seeing kind of their first female superhero in that attire. And I realized there needed to be some kind of child superhero that they could look up to where the lessons were more their age group. How to be a good person, recycle. So this little girl, Delia, on her birthday inherits powers that are passed down from generations of females in her family. So her grandmother becomes her mentor, teaches her how to use, heat vision and all of that for good. Not to use it against the bullies. So just like really kind messaging for young women. And she's quirky and she's original and she's a tomboy. It's kind of based on my niece, who just realized that it's based on her. And yeah, so it's still available and we're working on doing the next book.
Have her sign some of those copies.
Yes, actually, I should. She'd love that.
I want one of those copies.
I've got them at the hotel. I should bring them over.
Perfect. Are you planning to write a second book?
Yes.
Anything you can tell us about that?
It's a work in progress. So it's a bit tough because when you self-publish, a lot of the publishing companies aren't interested because you've already started the process. But in my opinion, when you're starting the fan base of the book series, it should only benefit. So it's finding the right home for it.
Oh, that's exciting. And any other projects you want to plan in the future? What do you got going on right now? After all the conventions and the book writing, what else do you have?
I currently have a movie on Roku called Black Bags, and then I have a thriller doing the film festival circuit right now called Kill Victoria. I'm Victoria. And that's kind of it. We're just focusing on producing. I have optioned a book series called Gideon. It's kind of like a female Dexter. So I'm trying to work on that into creating a series as well. I tend to like the darker stuff if I have a choice. So hopefully keep your eyes out for Gideon one day on your TV.
You're really busy, I can tell. This is awesome, and you're making time for us here, which is amazing.
I am so happy to be here. Thank you.
One last question. Any advice for those that want to start acting, regardless of age, starting young or later? What's the best advice someone can get if they want to pursue acting?
So my instinct is to say don't do it, but that's not very motivational. Listen, it's a really tough industry. I've been doing this for 27 years. Started off with like Goosebumps and Disney and all those kid shows, Are You Afraid of the Dark? And from my personal experience, like you really do have to have a thick skin. And I don't, and it's been this long, and every time a job doesn't happen, it's just as hard as when I was like 12. I just told you my age if you do math. But if you love it, if you're willing to put in the grinds, it's worth it. It's not all glitz and glam. It's not all like constant work. It's the work in between that you really have to be prepared for. So if you're a kid, definitely try it out if it's something that you want. But if it doesn't feel right, find something else. You just have to have thick skin, and it is worth it if you can have thick skin.
I love that. Hard work and passion is what it took to get all your success. And hopefully people out there follow the good advice right there from Laura Vandervoort. Excited to have you out here. please make sure you visit her. How many days are you here?
Today and tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So make sure you go say hello, and thank y'all for joining us.